Hey, we're gearing up for game day. The Dolphins are going to be back and better than ever after the bye week. And if you're like me and you want the Dolphins to beat the Raiders, you got to let me know right away. Type me in the comments, and let's get it going. Another edition of Dolphins Today starts right now. Well, while we're in season and we embark upon the second half of the season for the Miami Dolphins, there's always some free agent rumblings. And those, in fact, became a little bit even more renowned as rumors started to surface of an available defensive tackle at a position of need for the Miami Dolphins that might make a little bit of sense. So check this out from Pro Football Network. And Adam Beasley talking about Akiem Hicks, a defensive tackle that's been a prominent member of the National Football League for many, many years, and the possibility of him finding a home in Miami. And you know what? The Dolphins have been very reliant on their top two defensive tackles. And so when you think about a position group of need and perhaps some depth that could be obtained at that position group, it makes a lot of sense. So let's break it down a little bit. He's a proven defensive tackle in this league. Like I mentioned, a veteran, 11 years. So a little bit long in the tooth, of course, but perhaps still some gas in the tank. He was a third-round pick of the Saints in 2012 and bounced around a little bit, but really made his mark with the Chicago Bears. In fact, in 2018, he was elected to the Pro Bowl. And oh, by the way, the defensive coordinator on that Chicago Bears staff was none other than Vic Fangio. So last time Akiem Hicks was active, 2022. He played 11 games for Tampa Bay. You see the stats there, and not necessarily anything that's going to jump off the page for you, just the 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 22 overall. But again, we're talking about adding a little bit of depth here for Akiem Hicks as a possible free agent signing for Miami. So we know the Dolphins need additional bodies and on the defensive line. So I leave it up to you. Be the GM with me for a second here. Would or should the Dolphins sign Akiem Hicks? It's real simple. Type Y for yes or N for no. It's our pinned comment of the day. So if YouTube hits you with that ad break, just get down in the comments and let me know. I think Akiem Hicks to Miami makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider the depth that he would add on the defensive line. And there's some other factors that make it a really appealing move for the Miami Dolphins, such as the connection with Vic Fangio. Like I said, Akiem Hicks, probably his best 3 years of his career, statistically speaking, were in Chicago. And yes, I said he's getting a little bit older, but you know what? Maybe a reunion with defensive coordinator Vic Fangio in Miami is exactly what Hicks needs. Now, one of the best beat writers in the business, that is Barry Jackson, covering the Miami Dolphins, asked Vic Fangio this very question because I was wondering, a lot of people were wondering, as you see on the tweet here, talking about free agent defensive tackle Akiem Hicks, has been broached in his talks with Grier and McDaniel since several have asked, and here was Vic Fangio's answer. Quote, a while ago, it did come up, but it has never gotten any momentum. Hicks has said he talked to teams, but is undecided about playing this year. So it's up to Chris Grier to make a move to try to bring in Akiem Hicks as a defensive tackle for the Miami Dolphins. So I've read the comments. I know how some of you out there feel about Chris Grier, but let me know in the comments today if you believe in Chris Grier. Can he get this done? Type B for believe. Or if you don't and you kind of doubt him, which I know, I've read the comments. A lot of you are not the biggest Chris Grier fans, and that's okay. Type D for doubt. Now, I think it makes a lot of sense for Akiem Hicks to find a home in Miami. We're going to talk more about that, but first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor, GameTime. I've been telling you about GameTime for months, and if you don't know by now, I'll tell you again. It's your one-stop shop for all live events and the only ticketing app that you'll need. And like I said, live events. So yes, you want to get out to Hard Rock Stadium, GameTime's the app for you. If you want to go watch some hoops, now that we're underway in the NBA season, the NHL season. GameTime's great for that, but it's also great for concerts, and it rewards procrastinators. What do I mean by that? Well, they've got the lowest price guaranteed on last-minute ticket deals and even the day of. So let's say the game's on the calendar and you forgot to get tickets. It's the day of. Not to worry. GameTime specializes in last-minute ticket deals with the lowest price guaranteed. And you know we got a special deal for you for being a Dolphins fan, a Dolphins Today subscriber. We're giving you $20 off your first purchase when you create an account and use that promo code FINSCHAT. Now that's promo code FINSCHAT, PHINSCHAT. And you know we always put it in the link to the description as well as the comments because we care about you, we love you, and we want to make it easy on you. So that's promo code FINSCHAT, PHINSCHAT, for $20 off your first purchase. Now, terms do apply, but go ahead and create that account. Use that promo code FINSCHAT for $20 off when you sign up using GameTime. Lowest price guaranteed, last-minute ticket deals. That is GameTime, and the only ticketing app you'll need. Now, like I said, I really believe Akiem Hicks to Miami makes a lot of sense. He should be a Dolphin, and there's more than just the obvious of, hey, he's a great player and we need help on the defensive line. It goes a little bit deeper than that. Take a look at the Dolphins defensive line depth chart. You don't see a lot of names on there because there's not a lot of guys. Zach Sieler and Christian Wilkins have been kind of the two-headed monster that have really driven the Dolphins defensive line, and Raekwon Davis he hasn't played a lot. He's playing less than 50% of the snaps, and it's really been like I said, a two-headed monster between Wilkins and Sieler that has really anchored this defensive line, and they've been really good, but you just don't want to get too much tread on the tires, especially at that defensive line position. Now, the production is there. 4 sacks for Sieler, 5 for Christian Wilkins. Both of them you could make the case of Pro Bowl players, and 32 tackles overall, 38 for Christian Wilkins. And like I said, the production is there between these two guys, but they're playing all the time. Check out these numbers. Zach Sieler's played 77% of the Dolphins' defensive snaps. Right behind him, Christian Wilkins at 76% of the snaps. And these are type of usage rates you'd see for a cornerback or maybe a little bit of maybe a linebacker or safety. But defensive line is a position group. Watch any NFL game. You see guys rotating in, rotating out all the time to keep those big fellas fresh. And for Zach Sieler and Christian Wilkins to be 5th and 6th on percentage of snaps for the Dolphins defense in usage rate, those are really, really high. So yes, the production's been there, but even Vic Fangio himself admitted that he's had to use these two guys quite a bit. So bringing in a guy like Akiem Hicks could go a long way. I'd love to see Hakeem Hicks in a Dolphins uniform and provide some depth and be a backup defensive tackle to both Sieler and Wilkins. But let me know what you think in the comments, because the other two guys, Raekwon Davis, like I said, he's played about 46% of the snaps, and Deshaun Hand, his percentage of usage rate is way below that, close to about 12%. So those are the two guys on the depth chart right now as backup defensive tackles. But I really think Akiem Hicks would look good. So let me know. I don't want to sway you too much. Let me know in the comments if you think it's Akiem Hicks, type AK. But if you're happy with Raekwon Davis, type RD. Or maybe you want to see Deshaun Hand get a few more snaps, type DH. Now, it's not always as simple as, hey, here's a free agent. Get him on our team. That's why it's up to Chris Grier to make this happen. You got to figure out how to get Hakeem Hicks in Miami. Now, there's a little bit of a breakdown with the Dolphins cap situation. You've heard me talk about it before on Dolphins Today, and I wish I had better news because the cap situation is not great for the Dolphins. Right now, they have the 29th best cap situation. If you think about availability on the cap, only about $3.3 million, depending on what you read, in cap space, which is not a lot for 2023, especially when you consider the notable free agents that are pending in 2024 for the Dolphins. Guys like Christian Wilkins, who we just showed you, a lot of production there. Jerome Baker's played pretty much every snap at linebacker and been a very solid linebacker for this Dolphins defense. And then on the offensive side of things, Cedric Wilson and Connor Williams, who make no mistake about it, you know that the Dolphins offensive line can't afford to lose a guy like Connor Williams. So a lot of moving pieces here, and to help with that cap space, both Jason Sanders and Cedric Wilson had their contracts restructured to provide a little bit more cap space. But again, the cap situation is not ideal, and that's why it's up to Chris Grier and that front office to figure out a way to make it happen and to get Akiem Hicks in a Dolphins uniform to help that defensive line. So call your shot right now. Put your prediction hat on. Percent chance that Akiem Hicks is a Miami Dolphin in 2023. 1 through 100. I know it's playing the fence a little bit, but I put it at about a 30 to 40% chance that we'll see Akiem Hicks as a Miami Dolphins. I know it would help a lot, but again, there's a lot of moving pieces there, and unfortunately the Dolphins cap space just isn't in the best spot. But that's why Chris Grier in the front office get paid the big bucks. Can they make it happen? I sure hope so. But we got a live watch party for Dolphins Raiders on Sunday in Week 11 of the National Football League. Make sure you join us for that. It'll be a blast. It always is. Come early, get loud, let's get rowdy and have a good time. Fins up, go Dolphins. Shout out producer Sam on today's video. Appreciate everything on the ones and twos, keeping us afloat here. And remember, when Dolphins news breaks, we've got you covered. That's why you subscribe on Dolphins Today. Can't wait for Sunday. Go Dolphins, fins up, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Today.